A slaughterhouse, also called abattoir, is a facility where animals are slaughtered, most often to provide food for humans. Slaughterhouses supply meat, which then becomes the responsibility of a packaging facility. Slaughterhouses that produce meat that is not intended for human consumption are sometimes referred to as knackers' yards or knackeries. This is where animals are slaughtered that are not fit for human consumption or that can no longer work on a farm, such as retired work horses. Slaughtering animals on a large scale poses significant problems in terms of logistics, animal welfare, and the environment, and the process must meet public health requirements. Due to public aversion in many cultures, determining where to build slaughterhouses is also a matter of some consideration. Frequently, animal rights groups raise concerns about the methods of transport to and from slaughterhouses, preparation prior to slaughter, animal herding, and the killing itself. Until modern times, the slaughter of animals generally took place in a haphazard and unregulated manner in diverse places. Early maps of London show numerous stockyards in the periphery of the city, where slaughter occurred in the open air or under cover, such as wet markets. A term for such open-air slaughterhouses was shambles, and there are streets named the Shambles in some English and Irish towns which got their name from having been the site on which butchers killed and prepared animals for consumption. Fishamble Street, Dublin was formerly a fish shambles. The slaughterhouse emerged as a coherent institution in the 19th century. A combination of health and social concerns, exacerbated by the rapid urbanization experienced during the Industrial Revolution, led social reformers to call for the isolation, sequester and regulation of animal slaughter, as well as the concerns raised regarding hygiene and disease. There were also criticisms of the practice on the grounds that the effect that killing had, both on the butchers and the observers, educate the men in the practice of violence and cruelty, so that they seem to have no restraint on the use of it. An additional motivation for eliminating private slaughter was to impose a careful system of regulation for the morally dangerous task of putting animals to death. As a result of this tension, meat markets within the city were closed and abattoirs built outside city limits. An early framework for the establishment of public slaughterhouses was put in place in Paris in 1810. Under the reign of the Emperor Napoleon, 5 areas were set aside on the outskirts of the city and the feudal privileges of the guilds were curtailed. As the meat requirements of the growing number of residents in London steadily expanded, the meat markets both within the city and beyond attracted increasing levels of public disapproval. Meat had been traded at Smithfield Market as early as the 10th century. By 1726, it was regarded as, without question, the greatest in the world, by Daniel Defoe. By the middle of the 19th century, in the course of a single year 220,000 head of cattle and 1,500,000 sheep would be violently forced into an area of 5 acres, in the very heart of London, through its narrowest and most crowded thoroughfares. By the early 19th century, pamphlets were being circulated arguing in favor of the removal of the livestock market and its relocation outside of the city due to the extremely poor hygienic conditions as well as the brutal treatment of the cattle. In 1843, the Farmers' Magazine published a petition signed by bankers, salesmen, aldermen, butchers and local residents against the expansion of the livestock market. An Act of Parliament was finally passed in 1852. Under its provisions, a new cattle market was constructed in Copenhagen Fields, Islington. The new Metropolitan Cattle Market was also opened in 1855. And West Smithfield was left as waste ground for about a decade, until the construction of the new market began in the 1860s under the authority of the 1860 Metropolitan Meat and Poultry Market Act. The market was designed by architect Sir Horace Jones and was completed in 1868. A cut-and-cover railway tunnel was constructed beneath the market to create a triangular junction with the railway between Blackfriars and King's Cross. This allowed animals to be transported into the slaughterhouse by train and the subsequent transfer of animal carcasses to the cold store building, or direct to the meat market via lifts. At the same time, The first large and centralized slaughterhouse in Paris was constructed in 1867 under the orders of Napoleon III at the Parc de la Villette and heavily influenced the subsequent development of the institution throughout Europe. These slaughterhouses were regulated by law to ensure good standards of hygiene, the prevention of the spread of disease and the minimization of needless animal cruelty. The slaughterhouse had to be equipped with a speaker,